Cancer, welcome to your November 2016 Love and General Tarot card readings. Quick reminder that if you want to, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Jane International. I'm a little bit more interactive there than I am here on YouTube. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I have been preparing the deck for your readings, so give me just a few more minutes to shuffle and we'll get started. Cancer, love readings. Okay. Here we go. Actually, that top one seemed to slip out. Okay, here we go, Cancer. Interesting how the wand is pointing down and the sword is pointing up. One of the first things I saw when I was pulling out these cards was I feel like you are really trying to maintain a sense of optimism during a point of upheaval or frustration or a point in your life where things just are not going easily. And you're seem to be doing a good job at, if I may be cliche, turning lemons into lemonade. There seems to be a lot of directionality toward this Three of Pentacles. And this really is you, your energy in the center. And, at this point in time, the threes are associated with new cycles, right? I mean, there are a lot of cards of cycles. There are a lot of, messages that can say that. But I kind of see this card as a card of leverage is how I describe it, right? It's like you're using your portfolio, and in terms of love, it's your past experience. It's your past relationships, the stuff you've been through with your partner, and using that experience and that knowledge and leveraging it into something better. That's how I see this card, okay? And when things don't go your way, when things are hard, and when you have been, some information has been illuminated, okay? When things maybe make sense or when you start to gain clarity, you then can be on a path to create the bigger and better. That's what this is really about. Bigger and better, more, someone better, something better, and a better connection or whatever, right? And being a Pentacles, or from the suit of Pentacles, there is that underlying tangibility and the experiencing or the realization or the manifestation of those things. And if you're in a relationship, this is running alongside with your partner, doing those things together. And if you're single, this is going out and finding a better relationship, finding someone that is more well-suited to fit you in your life, okay? Some of you who might be in relationships might really be having a hard time. I'm seeing the Three of Swords and the Five of Wands. Two cards I don't like to see in love readings specifically. It's like you're pushing each other's buttons and you are feeling a sense of failure, right? And maybe you're feeling like the next steps in this relationship are just never going to come. They're just never going to come to fruition. And even though you're in the process of creating that, it doesn't feel like it, and you probably can't see it. There's drama associated with these. This is sadness and heartbreak, And at the same time, it is also healing, okay? And maybe there's something going on where you might be a little bit on edge because of your healing, right? And because maybe your partner doesn't necessarily have a true understanding maybe of you, a true understanding of what you're going through or how you really feel. This is also a card that indicates to me communication, right? But not communication in terms of having a conversation per se. More so like, okay, well, here's an artist, right? And here are the commissioners of that piece of art. So when a client goes to an artist and says, I really want it to look like this, and I really want these colors, and I want it to be this shape, and I want it to be this subject matter, and here's my list of criteria, here's how big I want it to be, here's the material that I'm really thinking, depending on how, detailed they are, it could be very broad or it could be very detailed, but it is then the artist responsibility to then interpret those desires accurately in order to produce an end product that actually mirrors what it is the person wanted. So you can talk till you're blue in the face about things that you need and tell your partner, this is how I need to be loved, and I really don't like it when this happens, what can we do to change it, and da 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 da. But if they aren't properly interpreted, this goes both ways. If they aren't listening and interpreting and then applying, then it's useless. And I'm kind of feeling like there's, like you're feeling like what you're saying is useless and like you're hitting a brick wall, okay? So you kind of get both with this. The dramatic energies here and the lack of, or the ace in the upside down position, things not coming to fruition, things not happening, frustrating things, someone falling short of expectations or someone not pulling their weight or coming through for you. This is a big learning experience, right? That's kind of like the first thing I said, a learning experience to be leveraged into something bigger and better and greater. Strength is an interesting one, and I've said this in a few of my private readings, and I don't remember if I said it in any of the other signs. This is speaking to me in a very specific way over the past few weeks, in a very different way than I ever saw before. And strength is great. It's all fine and dandy to be a strong person, strong-willed, having the ability to control your demons in your life, or I always say controlling your beasts, kind of thing. Okay, great, we get it. But the fact that it's showing up means to me that you are now having to exert that strength. You are now having to reach into the depths of your soul and draw from this resource within you. It's tiring, it's exhausting. Here you are laying down, you're feeling the weight of your issues on your shoulders. And yes, you're healing from them, and yes, you might be moving on, and like I said, you might be kind of on edge. And if your partner or the person, whoever, if your partner, isn't hearing you or isn't doing the right things, you might be a little bit tonguey. You might kind of have a little bit of a sharp tongue to it, and to you, and be a little bit short, causing a little bit of this. Not saying that you're the cause of it, but it's just kind of you're going through something, and you need your partner to understand that. And you're healing from something, and you need your partner to understand that and to be there. But it's causing issues. And because of those issues, you are now having to draw patience, understanding, and all the little subcategories that fall under the big umbrella of strength. And it can be tiring. And it can make you feel or long for other things, which I see here with the 5 of Cups. I see you longing for times gone by, or past situations, or past partners even, which is a little dangerous. It's a very thin line to walk, you know, it's very precarious. But I think what's key to all of this, and it's kind of in the foundation row, in the very center, right, kind of supporting the other energies, is this Ace of Swords. Now, I forget where I saw or I was reading this. I'm sorry, I wish that I could give credit to them, but I was reading recently, I believe, I had a very special description of this, and it rang so intensely within me, and it speaks well because of the Nine of Cups, so I'll talk about that for a second. The crown is something that we wear on our heads, egos, right? Our vision of ourselves, our perception of ourselves, and all of this. The sword, right? The holder of truth. Swords are tough, right? They are made for war. They are made for fighting. They are not forgiving, right? They are truths. Truth is not forgiving. Reality is not forgiving. And sometimes truth and reality pierce our little bubble, right? Pierce our egos. Okay, Nine of Cups. This is a card of pride. Sometimes the good kind of pride, sometimes the bad kind of pride. It can go both ways. In this instance, though, I'm kind of seeing it just being, because we have the Emperor, a little bit on the more negative pride, the ego side, where you might be a little bit stubborn because of, like I said, you're going through something, and I feel like your partner isn't giving you what you need. They're not really supporting you, and it's kind of making you look at things in a different way. The truth maybe of really who they are, the truth maybe of their ability to be your partner. Because when you're going through something like this, something that causes heartbreak, something that forces you to undergo a period of healing, which is a long process, and it can be time consuming, and it can be really hard, and you really need people around you, especially your significant other, to really just be there and allow that healing to take place. Now, this is kind of like a test from the universe, is kind of how I'm sensing it being. You're having an issue, and it's really going to determine the outcome, okay? This final piece of art that is the relationship. How well you communicate during this period, and how well you can manage that, like, bickering. That's the word, bickering. And how you can mitigate the issues, and how you can suppress your ego. You know, your ego has been pierced. There is no ego anymore. Okay? The Emperor and strength, they go very, very well hand in hand, and as bookends for the reading, because the Emperor as well, also very strong, also a warrior, also a sign of stability and foundations. This process, for some of you maybe who are just kind of starting to date someone, or kind of maybe a few months in or something like that, this is foundational. How this issue is handled, managed, resolved, how it's dealt with, can really allow you to see whether or not this is a quality relationship or not. Some of you may go through this story and great, okay, lovely, I have an awesome person in my life, or my husband or wife has been there for 20 years, and this is a perfect example of why I love him or her so much. And others of you are going to go through this and be like, you know what, this is really not the person for me. Like I said, it's a test from the universe. It's something that's coming in and challenging you, and it's kind of allowing you to go one way or the other. All right, so kind of an interesting story for you. Let me pull out the remaining cards and kind of see what those have to say. The Fool is always a nice, the cycle, the number 3, a cycle, a small mini cycle, not a huge big one, a fresh start. I think what you are really looking for is, because this isn't that bad of a reading, all right? It's not so dramatic. A lot of the readings this month have been very mild. It might not feel mild while you're going through it, but in the grand scheme of everything in your life, it's very mild. The Fool is such a fresh, beautiful, fresh start, right? And going hand in hand with the 3 of Pentacles again, once that piece of art is created and the end of that story has completed, that piece of art is what you leverage into something else. You leverage it into more work, right? And I'm using a silly example, but when you make the outcome, whatever the outcome is in this relationship, with this story, you then can go on to bigger and better things. And that's what the Fool is doing. Now, I'm kind of sensing distance from you, okay? 4 of Cups, the 7 of Cups. This is really going to test your commitment to this relationship. It's really going to test if this is what you want in your life. If you've been married for 20 years, of course, this is going to be the one that you want. If you're just dating for a couple months, or if there's, for those of you who are single and who have no one really that you're dating at all, I'm not seeing someone really new coming in, okay? Because we have the Ace of Wands reverse, and you may just be dealing with getting over something that may have happened with your ex, or something that recently happened with a past relationship. And I don't think that you are really in a place to accept someone new coming in, okay? So I just wanted to put that in there because I haven't really spoken to that up to this point. But, you're in a place of decision, and this is emotion driven. Sometimes that's not the best, but in this case, I think it really is. How do you feel this went? Does your partner make you feel secure, or do they not make you feel secure? Are you feeling safe moving on alone, or are you feeling safe moving on with them? And the options, right? You're analyzing your options, and that's good, right? You should always have a point in your life or in your relationship, periodically, where you analyze how things are going. I kind of think that's what's happening here. Again, mild story. Let's move on into the generals for you, or the general reading. Okay. Go. General reading for Cancer for November. I'm not going to accept these at this point in time right now because I know what I saw first and it doesn't feel right. Okay, well, we have a couple of the same cards here. Well, 3 of them that we pulled out before. Cancer, here you are. Here is someone else. So, a little bit more on the drama side. Sorry, you're not getting away totally scot-free. But ultimately still, like at the very end of this reading, I'm really feeling like you are like remaining neutral. And I think that's okay. You know, I'm so sorry, Cancer, but I'm almost kind of seeing like the exact same story, and I'm really not trying to. So I'm going to try to speak to it in a more general sense, but it's so similar, okay? Because here you are leaving, right? You're leaving something comfortable behind, something familiar, something that you know, something that you are attached to. This is a very difficult leaving situation, okay? This is hard. The devil can be interpreted in so many different ways, as can all the cards. For me, usually when I see it, it is such a intense energy, and it's a choice, right? It's a choice to stay in a situation, and you know, no one's forcing you to be there, but somehow you kind of tend to get sucked back in. It's something that is very difficult to leave. I see it as like a black hole, right? Or a whirlpool, or you know, something that creates a vacuum and nothing can escape. Oftentimes I see it as people in our lives or situations. You know, in terms of career, a lot of people are married to their work and they abandon their family members and their friends, and they just are all about work all the time. And it's a distraction from what life really is about. And 2, it is so exhausting. It is so exhausting, and it is so hard. And it is so hard to recognize it for what it is and to actually release yourself from that. The Tower, also a very dramatic energy. It is something sudden coming in, something important, something that really tears your world down. Ace of Sword energy. It pierces your ego. It crumbles the best of us. No one is safe from the power or from the natural forces, right? Sometimes we feel invincible, or we feel like things are unbreakable, and then something comes in and it breaks. What's interesting is the 6 of Pentacles in between the 2. I see this as a card of generosity and balance, and almost even the universe giving. I often see this man as the universe, indicative of God or the higher beings, giving when you need. You are in need when these energies are present. You need guidance. You need to feel secure. You need to feel safe in your decisions. And this is the universe's way of saying that if you leave, you will be repaid. These are not voids, you know, the things that you lose during these things, you know. I feel kind of like this is something that you're leaving, and it's then causing the Tower, right? So because of the Tower, because of the leaving itself or leaving behind, you may feel a void where this was, whatever this is. The universe will repay you for that void in a more positive way. But I think this has left you feeling quite numb. Like I said before, quite neutral. Feeling like not that you don't want good things, not that you don't want blessings and the generosity of the universe, of course you do. Okay? But you are also regrouping. I often see this as a card of regrouping. When this comes out, it's like, well, it's not that you don't want these things, it's just that you just got to figure stuff out first. Because how do you know which one is the best? How do you know which one is right? You know, the universe is never in shortage of blessings. It's an infinite supply. Now, this character is interesting. Let me see how I see him. Let me think for a moment, because I'm feeling that this is you, Queen of Cups. And I'm feeling also that this is also, you know, your foundational energy, your underlying energy. Did we pull him out in the same position? No, he was here in the last one. He was here, but close. Again, this is the foundational. He is foundations. He is stability. That's what the 4 is, you know. The square is the most stable shape, right? It's the 4 points. I feel that there's a lot of attention geared toward this person. This might be a safety net for you, right? Not seeing it specifically as your partner, not seeing it specifically more so actually as a friend or colleague, most likely a man, doesn't have to be, that you feel emotionally safe with. It's almost as though this person is picking up the pieces a little bit of some of this, right? I think that something happened, you moved on, the ego, okay, the ego is associated with this here, but then you leave. You willingly accept to take one less. You go from 9 to 8 in progression. You are willingly reducing things. You are finding humility within yourself and moving on, and moving away into the safety of this person, the safety of their willingness to give. Maybe they are as almost a gift from the universe. Maybe they are your saving grace, you know? Whether it's just going to them for an opinion or for some advice, or whether it's going to them for even some financial assistance, maybe it's going to them for guidance and mentorship. You're not a weak person in this. These situations often cause weakness, but I don't see that. I see empowerment. And I see that you're following your gut. I see you following your intuition, right? The queens are very intuitive. They know what's best. They can feel it. You know, it's like the quote unquote mother's instinct or the paternal instinct. You know, you just know when something's going on with your kids. And you can't explain why. You just know. There's something that you just know. This is right. It's hard. It's challenging. You remain strong and you remain neutral, and you don't get too emotionally involved in what's happening, which is great. You know, you've removed yourself, I think, from the after effects of the tower crumbling down. It's like almost like when you're playing Jenga and you know that you're going to knock over the tower, so you just kind of quickly pull it out and then you step away. It's kind of, and then you watch from afar as the tower crumbles down. You know it's happening. It's almost as though it's a third bar or out of body experience, and you just allow it to happen. And that's it. That's all I'm seeing, really. Let me pull out some more. even with the same position as the Fool in the last one, the Page of Swords, very similar type of story. Freshness, a fresh start, starting even out as a page, new outlook on life, fresh eyes, curiosity, excitement for the world to come. You know, you're playful. I think that this is a sense of freedom for you. It's like you break away and you can now just run, like a wild horse, just run, you know? And were you starting to feel a weakening of the energy? And this has been a very, very common card, the Two of Wands. But you feel a weakening of the sadness. You feel a weakening or a leaving of the coldness of the Devil, right? And you start to head in new directions. Plain and simple. Not a big deal. You're handling it like a champion. It's not even a thing. You're moving forward. You're progressing. Things are going well. I think you have an idea of where you're going. You wouldn't be leaving if you didn't know. It's like you don't like it, so you leave. You know there's going to be an aftermath, but it's for the best. It's for the best. And you know where you're going. You know where you're headed. It's very determined, very, very specific. You need to get this out of your life in order to create the space for something else, right? It's the vacuum effect. You remove it, and the universe says, here. Let's replace it with this, something better, something more in line with how you see your life going. I mean, it's a hard reading, but it's still really positive. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of unruliness, okay? But again, I'm so excited for you. This is an exciting place to be. I'm always excited when I pull out the Two of Wands because it's such a fun process to say, well, where do I want to go? How do I want my life to be? Okay, great. How do I get there? And then actually taking the steps to do it. And that's what you're doing. You're actively pursuing those goals, you know? So it's great. So I wish you nothing but the best. Seriously, Cancer, I'm very, very excited for you. So that's it. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.